Hello everybody and welcome back to Depression Quest. I am getting slightly depressed while playing this game. It's a mild Friday afternoon. Alex calls you from one of her classes telling you that there's going to be a really awesome birthday party tonight at her apartment that one of her roommates is throwing. You've hung out with this roommate a few times with Alex, and you get along well enough but aren't particularly close. You don't have work in the morning and had nothing else particular to do tonight. You were feeling kind of run down, but you have fatigued most of the time lately. You mention that you're feeling ill because you're not sure how else to explain those feelings to someone else and say that you aren't sure that you can make it tonight. There's a second of silence over your phone, but you swear you can hear the sound of your partner's face fall. She tries to convince you anyway. You haven't seen her this week, and she sounds pretty insistent that you come over. She even drops a few suggestively worded hints that you can stay over with them tonight after the party. Okay, I still can't do the first option. I have to agree to go because it's my goal to stay with her. I'm agreeing to go. You agree to go even though you're really not feeling social. You know it's important to Alex and you'd really like to see her. Seeing her does not make you feel better sometimes. And you hope that this is the case tonight, even if it does mean dealing with all of the usual social anxiety. Okay, I can hear rambling in the background. I'm going to turn up the volume a bit. The time to leave rolls around and you grab your overnight bag. Alex's apartment is a short walk away, and there are already people hanging out on the porch. You feel your chest tighten as you approach the building and try to steel your nerves. You quickly find your partner, chatting away with the birthday girl, and Alex immediately lightens up when she sees you. "I'm so happy you came. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it." Oh, thank God. A young man taps her on the shoulder, and she turns back to you to apologize and let you know they have something to do for the party. Alex hands you a beer and plants a kiss on your cheek before going off to deal with whatever came up. As you look around, you don't see anyone else you recognize. Oh, God. Going back to the wall. Okay, I'm going to do it with number 3 because that was probably what I would do in this scenario with this personality. So I'll go with number 3. Okay, the music has stopped. The background music. You take your beer and shift through the crowd until you arrive at Alex's room. The room is actually empty of other partygoers, and you sit on her bed as you set your bag down. Thankful for the personal space and feeling a lot less claustrophobic, you mess around on your phone while you sip your beer. You keep telling yourself you'll go back out in 5 more minutes. But every time the time rolls around to go back out, you feel the panic creep back in. So you stay rooted at the spot. You figure no one knows you're here anyway, so it's unlikely you'll be missed. Aw, I shouldn't have done that. A few minutes later, Alex comes into the room. "Oh, there you are. I was wondering where you'd gone off to. Figured I might find you here." She sits down on the bed next to you, buzzed enough to be slurring slightly. "I'm really glad you turned up tonight. To be honest, I really didn't think you'd show. It's really cool you did, though. Really. Ah, yes. Thank you." Okay. You know she meant it lovingly, but you're not quite sure how you feel about that statement. It's a little afternoon on a muggy Saturday. Your mother has come over for a surprise visit, claiming loudly that she doesn't see you enough, so she decided to invite herself over. As you converse, she walks around your place, and you get the distinct impression you're being inspected. She asks what's going on with you lately, she asks abruptly. Taken somewhat aback by this left fielder, you tell her you're not sure what she means. She repeats the question, saying that you haven't seemed like yourself lately. She gestures to the dirty dishes piled in the sink and notes the fact that you haven't called or visited in a while. Your reticence only seems to spur her on more. She presses you, asking if you're having problems at work or with Alex, and you're beginning to feel increasingly battered by her sudden well-meaning but overwhelming inquisition. Under her questions, you become increasingly uncomfortable. You want to be able to explain to her how you've been feeling. But the truth is that you're not really sure yourself. Nothing horrific has happened at work lately, or with your significant other, or friends, or anything like that. But all the same, you can't deny that lately you've just felt drained, and as though you're not really here. You wish you could tell your mother these things, but she hasn't been approachable with negative emotions in the past. She is the kind of person who holds the opinion that the solution to any problem is simply try harder and maintain a positive attitude. A stance that has reared its head in the past conversations when you've begun to explore the subject with her. You know she's unlikely to be understanding, and you feel the energy drain out of you when you imagine what would happen if you managed to blurt out everything you were feeling. What do you do? See, the issue is that I always think that, number 2 is going to be the best answer, but I don't know if it is. I don't know what it is. See, if I pick 2, she's going to be really judgmental. If I pick 3, then I'm going to be secluding myself. But if I pick 4, she's going to be more inquisitive. I think I'm going to actually pick 4 because it might get her to push down on me harder. So I think I'm going to go with... Oh, God, this is so difficult. I mean, it's not like difficult in the challenge sense. It's difficult in the morality sense. Okay, I'm going to go with... God. I'm going to go with 2. You attempt to tell your mother how you're feeling, despite initial misgivings that you have about doing so. Finding the right words for how you're feeling feels like trying to undangle Christmas lights, searching for the dead bulb in the cluttered mess. She watches you intently and audibly sighs before you can clearly articulate anything. Unfortunately, she redacts predictably. Dang it! An attitude like that won't get you anywhere. You need to work harder at getting what you want instead of sitting around and feeling sad about it. Nothing good will happen unless you make it happen. She isn't angry or spiteful as she tells you this. You try to explain that it's not a matter of that, but you can tell you're not getting anywhere. The frustration chokes the words in your throat, and you are giving up on trying to push the subject further. You know she's giving you the advice that makes sense to her, and genuinely wants the best for you. However, she doesn't understand that it's not as simple as somehow deciding to be positive or work harder. It's that those things aren't viable options because of these feelings. Okay, I'm not doing better. You accept your defeat, and the conversation drifts on to other subjects. She leaves you chiding after to call her more attention and take better care of yourself. You sigh heavily as you close the door behind her, spend the next few hours laying in bed, staring at the ceiling. Okay, so I think I did the wrong thing. I think that was not the good answer. What is that? Can't tell what that is in the image. It is a lazy Sunday morning. You are idly clicking around online as your phone rings. Sam, a co-worker of yours that you're friendly with, asks how you are and makes hurried small talk with you. You typically only ever talk to him on the phone when you need a shift covered. When one of you needs a shift covered, so it's slightly awkward. You're waiting in anticipation for him to ask you to come in on short notice when he veers the conversation in a completely different direction. How do you feel about cats? He asked. Mine had kittens a few weeks ago, and I'm having an awfully hard time finding a home for the last one of the litter. You don't have any pets, right? It takes you a moment to process this new information. You're caught off guard as he begins to earnestly try to sell you on the idea that last kitten off his hands. It's not something that you had specifically considered before, and he seems fairly insistent. She's a real sweetheart, really loves people. She's got all her shots already taken and carried to the vet, and she says she's as healthy as a horse. I can bring her over by your place tonight if you're interested. Oh God, I lost another option. I'll get to that in a second. You look around your apartment and try to picture a cat in it as he continues to tell you about how cute she is. You tell him that this is all kind of a sudden, and that you don't have anything for the kitten set up here. Oh, don't worry about that. I can bring over a litter box and food and all that, since you'd really be helping me out of a fix. It's the least I could do. I just don't want to have to put her in a shelter. You can't help but feel like you're being guilt-tripped, but you decide to give it some serious consideration. It does get awfully lonely around your apartment, and it might feel less empty with a cat around. However, since you've been feeling so down, it might not be a good idea to take on the responsibility of a cat, even if they are fairly low maintenance. Okay, so I lost option 2. If this was me, I think getting a cat would be great, because I like cats. So, I guess I'm going to go with this, then. I think cats will help with this. You accept the offer of the kitten, and hang up shortly after making arrangements for when your co-worker can drop her off tonight. After hanging up, you worry that you've suddenly taken on a responsibility you can't handle and hope that you don't make a small animal suffer for it. You're not entirely sure what to expect, and you spend the rest of the afternoon researching cat care online and trying to think of a name. The evening rolls around, and you hear a knock at the door, startling you out of reading Wikipedia entirely too hard. You take the possession of a small, terrified black and white kitten in a carrier, along with everything you need to start taking care of her. You take her into your bedroom, close the door, and open the door to the carrier excitedly. She cowers in the back of it, and you back off, feeling slightly defeated. Remember what you researched in introducing a kitten to a new home, and leave her alone to go mess around with your computer, hopefully checking over your shoulder every once in a while if she hasn't come out yet. She hides in her carrier periodically, making sorrowful cat howls long enough for you to start worrying that she already doesn't like you. But by the time you go to bed, she's curled up at the foot of it, eyeing you nervously before falling asleep. Over the next few days, you gain her trust, and she begins affectionately following you around, sleeping on you and hopping up on you every time you sit down to do some work. Okay, good. I will be right back. Actually, no. This has been the next episode of Depression Quest. I think I'm starting to go on the right track here. Goodbye, and thanks for joining me.